You're on.
Welcome, everyone, to the Tethys Shipyards, a subset of Housecoat podcasting. I am Takeshi Yamato, and will be serving as the Yardmaster, and am joining our host, the Housecoat Gamer.
Yo.
Now, as some of you might be aware, but I will explain this anyway, I am a bit more into the tabletop RPG aspect of gaming than Ron. I've sort of been in that style for about since about 2017. I've been into tabletops, and Star Trek Adventures has become one of my main ones. And in the most recent book, Utopia Planitia, there are rules for creating space frames, not just the official ones, but not just the official ones that are in the books, but but homebrew ones for if you want to try something different. So, the Tethys Shipyards are going to be where we stat out starships from Star Trek Online that have not been officially statted. Ron, of course, will showcase these things using the ship vendor, while we both try and come up with some lore, and while we come up with some appropriate lore, and we come up with a stat block for this thing, for these things. And we are starting with the Tempest-Class Patrol Escort.
I would refer to this vessel more as a medium cruiser, due to its size and general role. Yes. And judging from its registry, it is most definitely an early 25th century design.
Early 25th century. Okay. So, we will give this thing a launch date.
2405.
Alright. So, basically something that was designed and developed during the tensions between the Klingons and the Gorn, and was unveiled and made its debut just in time for the war between the Federation and the Klingons to break out.
I'm just going to get this out of the way real fast. This design is much larger than its intended predecessor. Its intended predecessor, of course, is the Defiant-class tactical escort, but if you want to use the actual naval designation, it's a heavy destroyer.
Yeah.
And let us be honest, we all know its main fatal flaw.
Yes, we do.
But, in case anyone is actually wondering, because they've never seen it before, the problem is the EPS grid, and its tendency to want to blow the ship to pieces. The warp core is simply designed for a ship closer to that of the Tempest, or hell, even the Galaxy class.
Yeah.
The Tempest would have been designed to pack the same amount of firepower as the Defiant, if not more so, in a frame that was far more able to accept such things. The Defiant, after all, is only 100 meters in length, roughly, while this vessel is approximately the same size as a Miranda-class light cruiser.
Right, and that brings us to the next selection point, scale. Starships in Star Trek Adventures come in several different scales. Scale is the main measure instead of size. Scale 1 is like shuttle pods and shuttlecraft. Scale 2 would be runabouts or small ships. The Defiant is Scale 3. The book actually has rules on this. Utopia Planitia. basically, it suggested that as a general rule of thumb, ships with a standard crew of 1 to 5 are scale 1, 6 to 20 are scale 2, 21 to 100 are scale 3, 1 to 400 are scale 4, scale 5 ships are several hundred, and scale 6, the largest standard, though there is scale 7, can have crews of 1,000 or more. Anyway, back when STO had a crew system, the Tempest, patrol escorts in general, had a crew of around 200. That, and the thing being the same size as a Miranda, tells me that this is scale 4. So, a launch date in 2405 gives us 60 system points, and the fact that and scale 4 means that scale 4 is the baseline, so no points are added or subtracted. Next up, we have to assign those system points to the 6 systems of the ship: comms, computers, engines, sensors, structure, and weapons. Now, this thing should probably have a fairly... We'll start by putting everything at 10, just making it all even. And then we can add and subtract points as... We can subtract points from one system to add to another.
For the sake of fairness, I will be using the Fleet Patrol Escort refit, which would be as close to a cannon design to serve as the basis of this. As this is an escort class vessel, at least in terminology, most of its weapon systems would be biased towards its tactical capabilities.
Right. And the method that I'm doing is also used by VTuber ELH with their Antares Shipyard series. If you have not yet, go look that up. Once this video is done, I recommend looking up the Antares Shipyards. Those are fun. There are only 2 vids in that series so far, but those vids have some fun space frames. The most recent one even did a couple of things from Armada. Anyway, back to this. The Antares Shipyard was also my inspiration for this little jaunt. So, anyway, back to systems. We're starting with 10 in everything. Now, weapons should probably be a bit higher than that. In fact, I would say 11... Well, I would say 11 or 12. 12 is the normal maximum for a ship system, though some ships do have higher values than that. Basically only one, mostly, but anyway, we need to take points away from other systems so we can put the weapons at 12. Let's see. I would say we can do... Probably should leave engines and structure at 10 for now. So that leaves doing things from comms, computers, or sensors.
This vessel is designed as a patrol vessel, essentially replacing vessels like the Norway and Sabre classes on border patrol. After all, you need more guns, and bigger guns, considering certain border tensions.
Yeah.
You're not going to need heavy-duty sensors.
Okay, so we'll drop sensors down to 9 at least. That means we've got one more point. Could drop a point from computers. Comms at 10 is probably good. Because you will need to be... Because you're a patrol vessel. If something blows past you, you're going to want to raise the alarm.
Indeed.
So, computers 9, sensors 9, weapons at 12. Do we want to do anything else? Bumping up the engines or the structure?
From the massive size of the impulse units, especially the ones mounted on the pylons here, it would be a much faster ship.
Alright. Let's pull sensors down to 8 to put engines up at 11.
Again, this is a patrol vessel designed for bread and butter duty. It's not a heavy-duty flagship like the Galaxy-Class.
Yeah. So currently we have comms 10, computers 9, engines 11, sensors 8, structure 10, weapons 12. The lowest you would expect a system, well, in modifying things, in modifying systems in the middle of a game through milestones, which is a game mechanic, you can't bring a system below 6 or above 12. So we'll consider 6 our bottom limit, though, well, technically 8 should be our bottom limit, I guess. But we could pull either depending on what do you think? Structure 10 fine?
Yep. It is very much an engineering biased vessel.
Yeah. We could always pump that up by pulling down another system, but if you say structure 10 is fine, structure 10 is fine. Alright. So, that is our systems layout. Comms 10, computers 9, engines 11, sensors 8, structure 10, weapons 12. Next we have departments. Now, most of the departments are, well, the ship's capabilities in the 6 departmental values: command, con, security, engineering, science, and medicine. Characters also have values in these, though those are called disciplines. So, for a starship, most of their department points will come from their mission profile. This is basically what any particular space frame, what any particular ship is built to do. Is outfitted for. So, even with a combat vessel, you could outfit a vessel as a command ship, or a straight-up tactical ship, or a science and research ship. The profile is just what equipment gets installed on it. However, all space frames do have 3 department points that they get assigned during creation, which modify the scores from the profile. No department can have more than +2 to any system value, to any department value. So,
This is just a patrol vessel.
Yeah.
Designed mostly to bulk up the fleet, especially after a certain event that we all know and despise.
Yeah. So, I figure we'll need at least security plus 1 point to security and 1 point to engineering. We could put 2 points in either security or engineering. Or we could put another point into, alright, or we could put that third point into command, con, science, or medicine.
Most of the weapon systems on this ship are forward-facing. While it does have the traditional phaser arrays in the rear end, just like every other Federation starship, including the Defiant,
Yep.
it would most definitely benefit mostly from a better RCS system.
Okay, so +1, so 1 point each to con, security, and engineering. That is our department points. Next up, the next step is, let's see, system points, department points, choosing talents. A starship in STA can only have as many talents as its scale. Now, mission profiles always come with their own talent. I always come with one talent from a list. And so you need to have at least one slot empty. And sometimes if there's more than one slot empty, the players can choose a slot, I can choose a talent freely to fill it. So we'll give this thing 2 talents, leaving room for a mission profile talent and 1 more talent. Okay. Now we need to look through the talent list. Talents. Here we go, talents. Okay. One option we could put on this thing is a blade of armor.
A necessity given this thing's role.
Yeah, a blade of armor. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. A blade of armor. For those who don't know the system, this basically means that the ship's resistance value, or how much damage is soaked up by enemy fire, is increased by 2. Now, normally, resistance is equal to the scale, but talents can modify that. So, blade of armor for 1. And 1 more. 1 more. Let's see. Advanced shields, backup EPS. Okay, let's see. There's 2 talents that we could possibly do to represent the improved, to further represent the improved engine systems. There's improved impulse drive and improved reaction control system. Improved impulse drive is when the flight controller succeeds at the impulse, attack pattern, evasive action, or ramming speed tasks, they may spend 2 momentum to increase the difficulty of tasks by 1 until the start of the flight controller's next turn, due to the ship's rapid acceleration. Improved reaction control system has the ship's maneuvering thrusters operate with greater precision, allowing the ship to adjust its course more carefully. Whenever a task to move or maneuver the ship would increase in difficulty because of obstacles or hazards, reduce the difficulty by 1 to a minimum of the task's normal difficulty. So basically, improved impulse drive means it accelerates faster, while improved reaction control system is better responsiveness.
Considering the size of this thing, and the fact that almost all of its weapons are forward-facing. RCS.
Right. Yeah, improved reaction control system. Alright. crude reaction control system. And now we come to weapons. This is the big one. This is where we decide what weapons go onto this thing.
And it's fairly easy to figure out.
Yeah, basically...
I'm seeing 2 torpedo launchers right underneath the deflector dish, a quartet of pulse cannons.
Okay, so basically they're mainly divided into category. So we'll need for energy weapons. First we'll go with energy weapons. These are scale plus security plus whatever modifier based on the delivery system. Those are cannons, banks, arrays, and spinal lances. This thing doesn't have a spinal lance, so we don't need to worry about that. So, cannons and arrays? Phaser cannons and phaser arrays?
There are 4 of them, all forward-facing. 2 torpedo launchers, forward. One dual aft launcher.
Phaser arrays.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 phaser arrays dorsal. Likely a similar number ventral.
Alright. So, phaser arrays and phaser cannons and torpedo weapons, obviously. Now, here we do have a little bit of choice because there's a whole lot of different types, but Starfleet mainly uses 2, photon and quantum. Some ships in STA have quantum torpedoes only, some only have photon. And quantums were first used in 2371. Go kart.
I'd say more 2370.
Yeah, 2370, yeah.
Or even earlier. After all, the Defiant was commissioned in around 2380 and 2368. It was only mothballed due to...
yeah, the issues. So, we could do photon torpedoes, we could do quantum torpedoes, we could do photons only, quantums only, or photon and quantum.
Considering this thing's role as a patrol vessel, photons only. It would also be able to reproduce its weapons in the field much easier, akin to how Voyager was able to resupply in the field. And before anyone says otherwise, that could have been a plot point in a Voyager episode had the writers actually considered it.
Yep, fair enough. Okay, so photon torpedoes are added to the weapons list. Quantum torpedoes can be added later because there is a talent that lets you add any kind of weapon to your loadout. It's called expanded munitions. The ship has been designed to defend itself from all manner of threats. As such, it has either additional energy delivery systems or extended storage for torpedoes or mines. The ship may add any one weapon to its profile. Its talent may be taken multiple times, adding a different weapon each time. Any prerequisites for the weapon or its delivery system still apply. That's not something that gets added to a space frame at the start. That's something you add as either a profile talent or a free talent. Anyway, that's the weapons: phaser arrays, phaser cannons, and photon torpedoes. Back up, scroll up again. Checking. Okay, creating starships. Alright. Final space frame steps. Traits and special rule. These are the 2 final steps. The first step of these is that traits should be chosen for the space frame. One trait will always represent the culture that created it and the technology base it was created from. In this case, Federation Starship. It is rare for a vessel to begin with more than this single trait. but another is possible if the space frame itself is notable and different in some way, as much as Federation and Klingon ships may be different. Examples of these traits may be non-combatant, slower than light, or state-of-the-art. All of these traits should be neutral and not specifically be positive or negative in regard to the space frame or her crew. I can't think of any additional traits that need to be added to this thing. So last up is special rules. The second thing that should be completed is the development of special rules for the vessel. Not all space frames have special rules associated with them, and only space frames with drastic changes to their operations tend to warrant having these. And so, basically, choose the type of propulsion the space frame will use. Is the standard FTL propulsion method warp drive or quantum drive? Is the standard sublight propulsion for the space frame fusion based like impulse like in the Federation? Or is it with chemical rockets like in 20th century Earth? You may choose to add the additional propulsion system special rule to give a space frame an additional type of propulsion. See page 38 for ideas. Discuss with your group the specific game mechanics for that system. Special rules for a space frame are in addition to talents and do not count against the talent total. But like talents, the game master can rule on specific special rules and how they may apply to any given situation. The ship with special rules typically has them due to inherent abilities of the design that can't be removed. I can't think of any special rules this thing might have.
The only thing I can say for certain is that this vessel is designed for two things. To deliver as much firepower on a target as possible, and to survive whatever hits it. Because unlike the Defiant, this thing is designed to go up and fight something. And stay in that firefight for a very, very long time.
Yeah. This thing is probably the standard, probably one of the mainline combat vessels for Starfleet during the time of Star Trek Online. At least it would be if it had a Tier 6 variant. Seriously, Cryptic, get on that!
You have plenty of opportunities. In fact, I've been demanding a Tier 6 version of every single ship in the game for years.
Yeah. So, that is the Tempest-Class. That is the Tempest-Class. We will try and get more ships done at least once a week, maybe two. Depends on how long it takes to do any particular one. For those of you who play Star Trek Adventures, I hope this helps. I hope this helps you out. And I'm sorry if we don't have any documents. I will try and provide documents for you to access, but we can't show them on the screen because Ron has OBS and it only works on games and on his games specifically.
Not my fault.
Yep. But yeah, we can't show off my Google Docs foo as I type these things out. I will try and provide links. I will provide links for Ron to add to the description in the video. So, I hope all STA players enjoy this. And also, a picture from the Star Trek Online wiki is included in the document, but I will take it down if asked. Because
I severely doubt they will. After all, I used our stuff for thumbnails all the time.
Fair enough. We will see you next week.
Housecoat Gaming, signing off.